Welcome to Tea Transitions, the podcast where women share their journeys of building a life abroad. I'm Rosie.
Hi, I'm Farah Baker.
And from career pivots to cultural shifts, we spotlight real stories of change.
So, if you are starting afresh or finding your way, you are in the right place. So, let's pour a cup and dive in. Today, our guest is Tracey. Hi, Tracey. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. We understand that you are originally from China. You lived in Hong Kong for a number of years, and now you are in New York City.
Yeah, I'm originally from a small town in northeast China called Fushun. And then I left there when I was 16 years old. And since then, I live in 6 cities around the world. Yeah, so a lot of those moves were actually sparked by an unexpected opportunity. So when the opportunity showed up, I said to myself I was going to try for 3 months and see what happens. And now, after 22 years, I've made myself homes in places all over the world. And today I help other people to do the same, to really build a home within themselves so that they can feel at peace no matter where life is taking them.
Excellent. Now, when you started at 16, you said, right?
Yeah.
This journey. What made you take that decision? Was it going abroad to study, or you were, you were going to see a relative, a boyfriend? What was it?
Yeah, so when I was 16 years old, I was just about to graduate from middle school, and then one day my dad saw this news online. One of the top high schools in Shanghai, they were opening enrollments for students from other cities, and so he applied for me, but they were only selecting like 90 students from 5,000 applicants. So we didn't have much hope. We didn't know I would get in, but eventually I did. So it was a nice surprise, and so I decided to just take a leap of faith and see what happens, because it's a really good education opportunity.
So how long were you in Shanghai from your village?
I took a 29-hour train. That was like 22 years ago. So we didn't have high-speed train back then.
89. My
Wow.
God.
Wow. Now, how was that living by yourself at the age of 16? I assume you were alone in Shanghai.
No, really. So the school provided dormitories, but it was really tough. I had to share one room with 5 other girls, so it's really tough. But I have to manage all the logistics by myself. And at that time, we pretty much only focused on the academic study. No one really prepares us for the emotional side of relocation. I kind of always had this inner voice. You just have to be strong, have to toughen up, be independent. So, but now looking back, I wish someone could show me how to really manage those emotions, process those emotions, because when you're moving to a new place, you're also navigating grief, loneliness, and identity shifts. So that's the reason why I'm doing the work I do today, really helping people navigate the emotional challenge of moving abroad.
Yeah, we're very happy to tie up with you in that sense, because that's exactly what our podcast is all about. Just sharing experiences of ordinary, regular people, and how we make changes and how we adapt emotionally, physically to a new country. Now, after Shanghai, where did you go?
So I went to Hong Kong for my master's degree, because at that time I wanted to stay in China. And then my mom said, maybe you should try go somewhere else just to see the outside world. And I didn't want to go too far. So I chose Hong Kong. I feel like Hong Kong is close to China. It's also different. And so I was planning to just be in Hong Kong for 1 year and then go back to China after graduation. But then after I arrived in Hong Kong, I really loved the city. It was beyond my imagination. I felt this place feels like home. I wanted to spend the rest of my life there. So I never thought I would leave. I was trying so hard to build a career in Hong Kong, and also I was getting married. Until I was 29 years old, life took a U-turn. So that year I was going through a lot of major life transitions, including like financial loss, divorce, death of my grandma. So basically everything in my life was falling apart. And at that time I thought maybe moving abroad could give me a new start. So I talked to one of my friends, and he suggested Canada, because other countries you need to study or work there to get a visa, versus Canada, it was very easy to get a permanent residency. All you need is just 3 years working experience. And then so I applied for PR and got it quite smoothly. And that's when I decided to go to Vancouver. So I thought maybe I should try this for 3 months, just see what happens. And eventually that 3 months turned into a 4-year spiritual journey.
So it sounded like 3 months is your cutoff.
Yeah.
It's either you make it or you break it, right?
Yeah.
But with your persistence and your confidence, I have to say you really have that power, willpower to keep on pushing. And going back to what your parents have instilled in you, that behavior of give it a try, explore, because they went through that themselves, living in your hometown, but they want to provide you a better perspective of life and experience. That's when they poke you and say, go, go. And there you are, ended up in New York now.
Yeah. So now you were in Vancouver for 4 years, you said, right?
Yeah, so I was in Vancouver for 4 years, and to be honest, that was the most difficult time of my life, because at the beginning, I thought moving abroad could give me a new start, because I was dealing with a lot of setbacks in Hong Kong. So I was kind of like moving to escape. I wanted to escape all of the pain I experienced in Hong Kong, and I thought moving to Vancouver could give me a new start. But after arriving there, I was really disappointed, because I had really high expectations. I thought it could fix all of my problems. Until I got there, I realized that relocation cannot fix an internal problem. It only magnifies it. But that doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. Sometimes we need that pain point. So really to go inward to do this inner healing work. So that's what I was doing in Vancouver throughout those 4 years journey. And really, it gave me a quiet space to really turn inward, to really figure out who I truly am, what do I truly want, regardless of other people's opinions, society's expectations. Because when I lived in Asia, all I wanted is just to meet other people's expectation. I thought to be worthy, I need to get a good college degree, landing a high-paying corporate job, getting married before 30, so that I can have a good life. Until I moved to Vancouver, that was when I realized like other people have very different way of living. I met a lot of people, like they feel like they don't really care too much about their career. A job is just a job. They just they would rather spend more time with their family and friends. But to be honest, I never truly resonated with that either, because I think it's important to do the work that really fulfills you, gives you a sense of purpose. But at the same time, I feel like I was no longer connected to Hong Kong either, because I realized a lot of my old ambition was coming from an ego-driven place. I was trying to use the external validation to fill an internal void. So I was in that in-between space for 4 years. Like that was when I was going through this identity shifts, really figuring out who I truly am, what do I truly want to do. And that was the hardest phase, I would say, because when you're going through those identity shifts, you feel you're lost, you feel empty, you feel stuck. And but now looking back, I feel like being stuck is part of this journey. So when I was not able to find the external solutions to my problem, that's just the universe way of reminding me to turn inward, to do this inner work. And then after that 4 years in Vancouver, I feel like I finally had a spiritual awakening. That purpose has been fulfilled. And that's when I moved to Toronto, because it was during COVID and I didn't have other options. You cannot really move to other countries. So I decided to try Toronto. And that's where I started this coaching practice and really step into my purpose. And once I did that, I feel the entire world opened up to me. And somehow I ended up in New York. Again, it's not something I planned. It just came to me like organically. I thought, again, when I moved to New York, I thought I would stay here for 3 months and then move to Europe. And what I didn't expect is I really love it when I moved here. And I decided to commit to this long term. So that's why I'm here for 3 years now.
Now, sorry.
No, I'm curious. You pretty much follow your walking compass to give you direction. Okay, next stop, you go here. Next stop, you go here, right? But emotionally, where did you get that energy? Where did you get that motivation to keep on taking that 2 steps ahead every time you face challenge? Where did that come from?
I love that question. So I feel like I always have two voices inside of me, one from my ego, one from my soul. So the ego always sometimes say you just stay with what feels familiar, what feels comfortable, what feels safe. But then the soul, the intuition has a different voice. I want you to move into the unknown. I want to expand you. And sometimes it's the opposite. The ego says, I want you to run away from pain and just run away from everything. But the soul says, I want you to just learn the lessons so that you can heal and grow. So over the time, because I have been doing this inner work, I could discern the voice between my ego and my soul and learn how to quiet my mind so I can connect more to my intuition, to my heart. And that eventually things will always work out. Eventually I just develop a lot of faith, inner peace, inner stability. So even when the external world feels chaotic, feels uncertain, there's so many emotional ups and downs, but I know that I can always return to myself, return to my center, and just trust that inner voice within, because eventually everything will begin to fall into place once you really connect to your heart, connect to your intuition.
Okay. Now, at any point through those journey, because I realized that at every point you were growing, with the self-discovery and internal reflection, you were growing step by step. Did you have any form of support? Because you were abroad.
Yeah, that's a great question too. So I think one of the things I'm grateful for is that I met some of my best friends after I moved to Vancouver. So at the beginning, it was really hard for me to meet new people. I feel frustrated when I went to some networking events. I really didn't connect with anyone until one day I went to a spiritual meetup group. And at that time, I was just curious what spirituality is really about. I wasn't really looking to meet anyone, but eventually I met two of my best friends at that spiritual event. And that was the first time in my life I feel someone really see my soul. They see my heart. They not only just see me for my titles, my identities. I feel like this person really can understand me. Yeah, at a deeper level. And so, especially when you're going through a really difficult time, but my friend was always there reminding me the reason you're going through all these struggles is just so one day you can help other people who are on the same journey. And she always reminded me, like, you were a born healer. Because when I was in Hong Kong, I was working in finance. I never thought about being a healer or a coach or therapist until the first time I had this conversation with my friend. She said, wow, you're so good at this. Like, you sound like my therapist. And that's the first time this idea crossed my mind. Or maybe this could be a new career path. But at the beginning, I was also had a lot of resistance. I feel it's really hard to start something new. I would rather go back to Hong Kong to build on what I was familiar about. But again, my friend was with me every step of this journey. She kept reminding me who I truly am. She was holding the vision for me as I was navigating all these identity shifts. And now, 8 years later, I feel the person I become today, everything I'm doing can be traced back to that moment where I connected with that friend.
See, the community is important, and you settling in and realizing that there's a commonality and a kindred spirit, so to speak, that really put you on your path and steered you. We all need that, and I think people have to realize that it can come in a lot of different forms, especially when you're so far away from home.
Yeah.
Now, through all your journey, how do you manage homesickness? I know you left at 16, so it may be easier for you to adapt because you were so young, but that may be also difficult for you because you were so young.
Yeah. So that's an interesting topic because, to be honest, when I was in my hometown, I never really felt at home because growing up, my parents are good people, but there are always some arguments. I feel they didn't really know how to manage their emotions, and I completely understand that. But growing up, I never truly feel safe when I was at home. So I feel after moving abroad, I didn't have that sense of belonging, whether in my home country or other countries. That's why for a long time I feel like I was drifting. I feel rootless. I just feel like nowhere feels like home. And that was a really empty feeling. And at the beginning, I thought once I build my new family, have a good career, get married, then I can finally feel at home, until all of those things were falling apart. And then I moved to Vancouver. It kind of pushed me to redefine what home truly means to you. And that's when I met those good friends from that community. That at that time I thought home means being with like-minded people who share similar values or passions. But then I moved to Toronto and New York. I feel nowadays my definition of home has changed even more, because now I feel like home means this inner state of peace and connection, because the external things are always changing. Like maybe right now you're part of this community, but after 5 years you move to a new place, you have to rebuild. The external world is always changing. I think the deepest sense of home is what we feel on the inside. And then the more we feel safe on the inside, the easier it is for you to overcome that homesickness or grief or whatever the emotion is. And then it's also easier for you to accept the natural season of relationship to transpire.
Yeah. I like the fact that you touched on these words that not many of us take it as a practice when we move, which is network and connections. Because a lot of times we would somehow feel isolation because we move to a different place, to a new place with no friends, no sense of belonging, like you said. But was it easy for you when you touched down in Toronto, for example, for you to do your outreach, get to know your people? Was it easy?
Yeah, so that's the magic part of this journey. It was really hard when I moved to Vancouver, because again, I was going through that down cycle. I wasn't ready emotionally, internally, but then things began to shift when I moved to Toronto, because I've already completed that 4 years inner work, inner journey. So when I moved to Toronto and New York, it became super easy to meet new people. I remember the first time when I got in New York, within that 3 months, I already made 15 friends. And I feel like it's so easy to talk to everyone. Everyone is so open. And I feel the external world is just a reflection of our inner state, right? Because the first time I remember I visited New York was 2018. At that time, I felt the city was so intense. It caused me so much stress, anxiety. But then the next time I came back 3 years ago, it feels like a completely different place. Did New York change? Maybe a little bit, but for the most part, I changed. That's why the external world feels different. Other people feels different. So I feel that's what this work is all about. Like it's all really working on the self. When we shift the energy in our body, and people are gonna sense that, you're gonna attract the like-minded people who are aligned with that.
Yeah. Now, what I'm understanding from your journey is becoming yourself and learning who you are and accepting who you are and realizing your own strength. And that in turn made you more confident and stable and be very willing to adapt and approach new ideas and new places. As you said, your journey at this point, if we relocated you somewhere else, say to Europe for the next 5 years, you will do fine, because you are so confident in yourself right now. This whole journey, this transition has brought you to this state. Now, how many years did that take in total?
Yeah, in total, 7 years in Shanghai, 7 years in Hong Kong, and then 4 years in Vancouver. So in total, that's what it takes to complete this inner transformation. But I guess it could be different for different individuals.
Yes.
But I think you're right. Like once you did this inner work, you will know how to cope with the external challenges, no matter where you end up. And more importantly, I think you will connect to this inner knowing, because I do believe human beings are like flowers. Some need more sunshine, some need more shade. You need to find an environment that nourishes you. So once we connect with this inner knowing who you truly are, you will know what's right for you, what's not, instead of following trends. Because I noticed a lot of people, when they move abroad, they just took other people's advice, listen to other people's opinions, versus connecting to their inner truth. So I feel that's also what this journey about. When you know who you are, you are gonna have better discernment, make better decisions that are aligned with who you are. And then, like I said, things always changing. Like maybe this place is right for you at this stage of your life, but after 4 years, you outgrow it. There might be another new city that's more aligned with you. Just like flowers, they need to be replanted in a bigger pot to keep growing. That's why I feel this journey is about openness, being open to whatever that comes your way. Like it's not about the destination, it's who we become throughout this journey.
That is a great way of putting it. It's true. And I also believe, in time and place. At this stage in your life, this is what suits you. At another stage of your life, you may need a different environment or a different scenario, Now, what do you look forward to in the coming years for yourself?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I used to be a goal-oriented person. Like I was really like
Asians.
ambition-driven.
Asians, we totally understand this.
Yeah.
We're all like that.
Type A.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of that was coming from the culture conditioning,
Yeah,
and we try to plan things a lot. It gives you a sense of control, right? And then I feel these years I learned how to surrender. I feel my only goal seems like to be
Surrender. That's hard.
yeah, that's even harder than setting goals, I guess. So that's actually one of my goals is just learning to be more open, surrendering even more because I feel this is a lifelong journey and also learning how to enjoy the moment, make the best of each moment because I feel once we take care of the moment, the future will take care of itself and also learning to be okay with the uncertainties because to be honest, I don't know where I will be like next year or in 5 years, 10 years. And I'm okay with not knowing that and just allowing the intuition to guide the way because I feel when the timing is right, I will get the signals from the universe versus in the past, I would plan like I want to stay in Hong Kong for the rest of my life and that never happened. So I feel like a lot of this is still about surrendering to a higher purpose. There is a higher purpose behind the relocation.
You see yourself growing in terms of looking at life in a different perspective. You do think that you're more wiser, you've mature now, that you kind of prioritize what's the goal to achieve and what to let go, as in surrender. Do you feel like you are in a good place now?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the amount of wisdom you have is in proportionate with the hardship you went through in your life. Because the wisdom is not something we learn at school, it's learned through real life experiences. And relocation is a really good opportunity. Like each time when you move to a new city, you learn different things, have different experiences. That's why I feel relocation is really a spiritual journey for us to have greater wisdom, greater self-awareness and consciousness. And like you said, it's really about having the discernment what's in your control, what's not in your control. Like we try our best to do the things in our control and we let go of those that are not in our control. And so that is the discernment as well. And I think once we have more wisdom, we also have better discernment.
I want to jump a little bit, give you the opportunity to share with us some of the work that you're doing might be able to help our listeners too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So the work I do is somatic healing. So what does that mean? That means like imagine this, like have you ever had the experience when you arrive in a new city, you just feel like this place feels like home. There is no logical reason. The energy just feels right. So you sense that in your body. And then through somatic healing, what we do is we help people shift their energy in their body so that they can create that felt sense of home in their body. So instead of like relying on external environment or a beach or an ocean to get that feeling, you have the ability to shift your internal state through somatic practices. So that can look like through breath work, through sound, through movement, because a lot of those emotions we experience after relocation, like the stress, the anxiety, the loneliness, the grief, they live in our body. And those emotions don't just disappear because we understand them logically. The body needs to complete a cycle of activation. So that's what we do in somatic healing, really helping people process those emotions. Because the beautiful thing is once we process them, release them, we can connect to that deeper place of peace and wisdom within us. And that's when eventually you will begin to manifest in your external reality. And you either find peace where you are or life will just bring you to the next place so that you can meet the right people at the right time.
Right, right. So how do you then interact and engage with your clients? Do you do them, meet them via Zoom, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have both online sessions and in-person events. So since I'm in New York City, we host like monthly gatherings. We have workshops on navigating the emotional side of relocation, and sometimes we do this in a yoga studio. So people lie down, do a breathwork session, including some somatic movements, just working on that embodiment. And we also have online sessions where people can definitely do this virtually through guidance, and especially when they're at home, they probably feel more comfortable, more grounded, and that can help them really settling into their body. And we're going to offer some music as well so that they can really process those emotions.
Nice. How do then folks reach out to you, connect with you? Is there like a website, or what's your social media handles?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is traceyzhang.com. It's my full name, and all of my social media, Tracey Zhang Coaching. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, so they can find me on all of those social media channels. And I also have a free ebook that I offer to my audience, navigating the emotional side of relocation, because every person basically they may go through these 5 stages. We have the honeymoon phase, culture shock, low point, adaptation, integration. So if anyone would like to prepare them emotionally when they're moving abroad, that could be a good resource too. They can download it from my website.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
That's great. Well, we are close to time, folks. Farah, do you have any last question?
I would say, it's interesting how we can be able to access ourselves. Now, a lot of people do different practices, and this is the avenue that you have to channel and to learn about your inner self. I'm very happy that you are on our show. It's very relevant to our podcast, and we're very happy to have you be our guest.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course, thank you so much. And definitely we'll share all of your information in our caption down, and hopefully we can connect with you. Otherwise, appreciate your time again, and good luck in your journey. And without further ado.
Yep. So if you believe that in amplifying our message today, please subscribe and leave us a comment. Join us every Thursday at 3 p.m. on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook for updates and behind the scenes. If you want to be a guest, please DM us at or email us at hello@ttransitions.com. Thank you for being part of our community and sharing your journey. We'll be very happy if you reach out and share your stories with us. Thank you.
Thank you again, and we'll see you in our next episode. Thanks, Tracey.
Thank you, Tracey.